Dem candidate explains her gun policy. Even CNN's Jake Tapper is puzzled by her answer. Democratic candidate for Georgia Governor Stacey Abrams was questioned about her gun policy on CNN. The far-left candidate was grilled by Jake Tapper, who normally is very accommodating to Democrats. During the back and forth, Abrams admitted her major goal for gun control. "Every American must see this. The state of Georgia has a big decision on its hands. Voters can continue their proud tradition of upholding conservative, American values. Or, they can elect a far-left, radical as governor, a woman who hates the Second Amendment and once burned the state flag. Normally, that decision would be a no-brainer, but big liberal money has gone into Stacey Abrams' campaign. Recently, none other than Oprah herself campaigned for the Democrat. The left is pushing Abrams because she will be, if elected, the first black woman to be governor of Georgia. That is enough for Democrats to want her running the state. Her policies and agenda? I guess that doesn't really matter to them. But Georgia residents need to know what Abrams intends to do if elected. The woman, who had Black Panther members armed with AR-15s stumping for her, has a very strict view on gun control. Like most far-left Democrats, she wants to clamp down on your Second Amendment rights. Last month, she accidentally admitted that she wanted to ban semi-automatic rifles, like the AR-15. Real Saavedra. Georgia Democratic gubernatorial nominee Stacey Abrams says she will ban semi-automatic rifles, and she refuses to answer whether she'll have the government go door to door and confiscate people's firearms. That's not great for anyone that loves the Second Amendment. Especially in a state like Georgia, where rural residents need firearms to protect their property, hunt, and exercise their rights. Whenever she's asked, point blank, if she supports such policies, Abrams has tried to dodge the question. But even on far-left CNN, where hosts generally support Democrats, Abrams was forced to answer this pressing question. Turns out, she really intends to take away Georgians' firearms. CNN's Jake Tapper grilled far-left Georgia Democratic gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams on Sunday over her support for confiscating guns from law-abiding Americans and for her support for banning semi-automatic rifles. When you were a state lawmaker in 2016, you co-sponsored a bill that would have allowed Georgia state authorities to take away so-called assault weapons from current gun owners, Tapper began. Most similar bans would grandfather in existing weapons of that sort, semi-automatic rifles that are called assault weapons. So, is that your current position, that law-abiding gun owners in Georgia should have to give up those weapons, if authorities deem it necessary? AR-15s are not necessary on our streets, Abrams continued, as she continued to express her support for banning semi-automatic weapons. We know assault weapons is a word gun control advocates use to describe semi-automatic weapons. Most people who support gun control think assault weapons is a proper term. It's not. What they really mean is they want to take rifles and various types of legal firearms from Americans. Another massive step in depriving Americans of their right to bear arms. Abrams waffled during the interview, claiming she said that she supported gun-grabbing legislation to start conversations. What? You don't need to introduce bills which can very well be voted on and passed simply to talk about gun ownership. Anyone, anywhere, can talk about this issue. For Georgia's state government to be actually crafting laws to take guns away from residents, is much more than having a conversation. It's clear that Abrams supports banning AR-15s, a staple firearm for many. Tapper tried to press her for more details. Well, just to be clear, you were one of 6 co-sponsors of this bill, House Bill 731, introduced January 11, 2016, not that long ago, Tapper responded. Your co-sponsor told reporters the law, quote, would require gun owners of these particular models to turn their guns in. And, again, my point is this: the legislation introduced was the beginning of a conversation, Abrams said, as she continued to dance around the issue. So you don't support the actual legislation, you just support having a conversation about it? No, what I have said is, legislation in the state legislature is about starting the conversation, Abrams said, appearing to contradict herself. I believe that we have to ban assault weapons in the state of Georgia, Abrams concluded. Who co-sponsors a bill and doesn't want it passed? It's clear that Abrams tried to pass a law that would ban AR-15s from Georgia. As governor, she would do more than start a conversation. She'd take every last Georgia resident's guns from them. She ends her response using the same cloaked term, assault weapons. Once again, that vague term does little to explain where she stands, since assault can describe nearly any firearm. But even Jake Tapper was able to expose Abrams' true motives. She wants semi-automatic rifles like the AR-15 to be illegal in Georgia. Everyone who votes for her is supporting some of the strictest gun control agenda in the United States. Every Georgia citizen must know this. Patriots who care about their rights must flood the polls. Share this story if you support the Second Amendment.